You're planning a dream family European vacation, but there's one problem. Your family can't agree on the itinerary. Someone wants to see it all: castles, ruins, historic streets, bustling markets. Another, they just want to relax by the pool, soak in the view, and do absolutely nothing. The good news? You don't have to choose. Today I'm sharing how to perfectly balance adventure and relaxation so that everyone in your family gets what they want. Also sharing some of my favorite destinations in Europe to do just that. Keep watching. I'm Christina.
I'm a traveler, a planner, and most importantly, a mom. I'm sharing my best tips to make traveling as a family a little less stressful. So put down your phone, pack your bags, and let's showcase the world.
Hi, I'm Christina, and I'm the owner of Showcase the World Travel, a modern travel agency dedicated to helping families take a break from the busy. And a part of that is building itineraries that balance exploration with relaxation. We totally understand the struggle of balancing different travel styles because I'm exactly like that. I want to explore ancient cities, try all the local foods, and experience as much as possible. I like to take a trip. But my husband likes to take a vacation. He loves slow, quiet moments, watching the sunset, sitting by the pool with a book. And the good news is you can have both. In today's video, I'm going to show you how to structure your trip for the perfect mix of adventure and relaxation, and also some of my favorite destinations that naturally balance both, and how to make sure everyone in your family, kids, parents, and even grandparents, get what they need. If you're still trying to decide where to go, I have a free guide to help. 18 Summers, our favorite family destinations by age. I'll share more on how to get that later. So basically, I think that the best approach to this is to adventure first and relax later. So that way you're not all relaxed and then going into an adventure. If you have a week in Europe, I recommend spending 4 days exploring and then taking the last 3 to slow down. If you have 2 weeks, extend the adventure phase to 8 or 9 days, maybe 10. Then unwind for the rest of the trip. Why this works? Well, you start with your high energy experiences, exploring famous landmarks, trying new foods, and diving into culture while everyone is fresh and excited. And then you end with time to truly relax, so you don't come home feeling like you need a vacation from your vacation. And if your family prefers to balance each day, I'll also share how to structure your itinerary with morning adventures and afternoon relaxation. This is something I recommend for all families traveling anywhere, really, is to only do one really big thing per day. So one big experience, one big tour, one big landmark, and then planning the afternoon accordingly. So if you have more energy, keep going. Go do an attraction or a museum, one that doesn't necessarily require a guide and one that, didn't necessarily make your priority list, but you have energy, so you can go ahead and pop into, let's do London as an example. So let's say that morning you did Buckingham Palace and you did a behind the scenes of the changing of the guard. Well, maybe your family needs to go back and relax, or maybe your kids need to go let out some energy in St. James Park, which is right nearby, or maybe that's a good opportunity to go to the National Gallery because you still have energy, you're still excited, you still want to explore. So that's kind of how I structure my itineraries no matter what, whether we're doing this balanced trip or not. I like to have that one highlight of the day and then give options for that afternoon. Here's where you can go if you need a break. Here's some things that are here are some restaurants that are nearby this experience that you're doing. Here are some attractions that are nearby this experience you're doing. Here's how you get back to your hotel if you just need to go back and your kids need to let out some energy in the pool, right? But if you're looking at more of that full adventure and then full of relaxation, one of my favorite ways to structure that is to immerse in culture first and then retreat somewhere relaxing to unwind. Perfect example is Portugal. You start in Lisbon, wandering through Alfama's winding streets where fado music drifts from the hidden bars. The scent of pastiche de nata lingers in the air. You take the kids on tram 28, winding past colorful tiled buildings, exploring São Jorge Castle, and you get to see these breathtaking views of the city. Day 2, you take a day trip to Sintra. Mist clings to the lush forest surrounding Pena Palace, and you have that fairy tale-like castle. You've seen this castle because I'm sure it's a screensaver you've had somewhere. The bold colors, the whimsical turrets, and you wander through the gardens of the Quinta, where secret tunnels and hidden passageways straight out of a storybook. Then, after you spend some of this time in Sintra, maybe you do a fado music class, you do a pastiche tasting tour, you do a cooking class, you do a tile painting workshop, all sorts of fun, engaging experiences in Lisbon, then you can escape to the Algarve. There's so many places to escape in Portugal. I think if it's your first trip, instead of heading down to the Azores, where you could do a whole trip on relaxation and adventure, there's some great experiences there. But using Lisbon as an example, the Algarve is right nearby. It's less than, it's about a 2-hour drive away, but you're trading in the city's energy for the cliffs, hidden sea caves, and golden beaches. You can spend your mornings sailing along the coastline, afternoons lounging at the pool of your family-friendly resort, or going to the beach of your family-friendly resort, maybe trying some of the incredible waves. This area is a really big surfing area, and have your evenings savoring fresh seafood while watching the waves roll in. By structuring your trip this way, you satisfy the travelers who want to explore while still giving the beach lovers their time to recharge. And if you're a family, there's a great family of resorts, Martin Hall Resorts. I think I did a video on them, so if I did, we're going to link to it here. Martin Hall Resorts, they have one in Lisbon, they have one in the Algarve, they have kids clubs in the Algarve so that you can put your kids in the kids clubs and enjoy some time with your partner. They have staff in the restaurants that you can enjoy your long leisurely dinner, and once your kids are done, they can go to the table with one of the counselors and color in the restaurant so that they're not sitting here there going, can I get up? Can I get up? Are you done yet? Are you done yet? Right? You know what they do. And so that's a great family vacation, is to do Martin Hall in Lisbon and then go to the Martin Hall in the Algarve by the beach, where there's pools and activities and tennis and all sorts of playgrounds, all sorts of really fun things for both you and your kids. I did talk a little bit about half days earlier. I want to get a little bit more into that, exploring in the morning and relaxing in the afternoon. I said that's how I typically structure my itineraries, giving you the options, right? Doing a full day tour and then balancing that out with a half day tour the next day, and then that kind of option in the afternoon. But it's being more intentional about that option and being more intentional about, okay, let's explore in the morning and let's relax in the afternoon, right? Instead of having that choice that I usually build in, it's more about, okay, we're not going to take a choice. We're going to do forced relaxation here. So you structure your trip with morning sightseeing and afternoon relaxation. So a really great place for that would be Athens, where you would start the morning at the Acropolis, standing in front of the Parthenon, where the morning sun turns the marble golden, and as you climb, you can hear the voices of the ancient philosophers, the gladiators. Yes, there were gladiators in Athens too, not just in Rome. And then, we would do a home base for you in the Athens Riviera. So there's sleek waterfront resorts there. We love the Margay. There's a Four Seasons. So you can sip a cool drink by the infinity pool while the kids splash in the Aegean Sea. So we can home base you on the Riviera as opposed to walking distance to the sites. We can get you private transportation and private guides that will take you to those sites in the morning, and then you have your home base on the Riviera in the afternoon to relax by the sea, by the pool, in some of these incredible resorts and restaurants. Another great location for that is Florence. You can wake up early and wander the Ponte Vecchio, feeling the energy of the market vendors, going to leather school, seeing Michelangelo's David, stepping inside the Duomo, and then retreat to a Tuscan villa hotel. So there's some great villa hotels about 10-15 minutes outside the city center where we would home base you there. You spend the afternoon by the pool, tasting olive oil from the local farm, watching the sunset over the rolling vineyards. So that's definitely an option if you want. Those are two great options to do and explore in the morning, relax in the afternoon. Dubrovnik has some great options around there as well. We have some great countryside partners that we work with that are about 20 miles outside of the city center of London, but closer to an hour with traffic and things, but closer to things like Hampton Court and Oxford. So if you wanted to do more of those types of adventures, we can definitely center you in some place that's a little bit more relaxing with a resort that has amenities, and versus a city center hotel where you can walk to the attractions. If you're not sure where to travel with your kids, finding the perfect destination can be overwhelming, but I've got you covered. Stay tuned till the end to learn how to access our free guide, 18 Summers, our 18 favorite family-friendly destinations. They're designed to help you choose the best spot for your next family adventure based on your child's ages. In the meantime, here are some of my favorite destinations that strike the balance between adventure and relaxation. First is Croatia. It is the perfect mix of culture and coast. I love to start in Zagreb, wandering through Dolac Market, where the smell of fresh pastries and roasted chestnuts fill the air. You get a lot of that Austro-Hungarian influence. Take the funicular to Upper Town for a panoramic view of the city's rooftops. Really, really cool city, really cool energy in Zagreb. Also is where the international airport is, so you're likely going to be connecting in Zagreb, depending on where, if you wanted to fly into anywhere in Croatia, you usually have to connect in Zagreb. So spending a day or two there to soak up the energy of this capital city is always really fun. Then you can head to the Dalmatian coast, starting in Split, where you can explore Diocletian's palace, and it feels like stepping into a history book, really. Exploring the maze of ancient stone streets, taking a boat to the islands of Var or Vis for days in the sun or sea. There's a really great spot in Šibenik that I love for families. It's called Amadria Park, and it has a water park, it has pools, it has beach. It is such a great spot to relax. So that's a great area for families. Or if you want to get closer to Dubrovnik, there's some great beach resorts in Dubrovnik. They're not near the city center, but there's some great beach resorts there as well that we can put home base you there, like we were talking about with Athens. We can home base you there by the beach, and then you can have some experiences in Dubrovnik. Or you can spend that time in Šibenik, spend 4 or 5 days relaxing on the beach in Šibenik, and then 2 or 3 closing it out with Dubrovnik and the history there. I know that doesn't follow the adventure first, relaxation later that I typically like to do, but just, geographically that makes more sense for Croatia to start in Zagreb, move down to Split, stay in Šibenik, and then finish it up with a few days in Dubrovnik. Šibenik, or on one of the islands, there's some great beach resorts in Hvar. There's some great beach resorts in Korčula. Vis has the famous Blue Cave. There's not as many resorts there, but we can definitely do something on one of the islands as well. If it's not necessarily beach that you're looking for, but adventure and relaxation, I love London and the English countryside, really for a cozy retreat. So if you're not necessarily going this summer, but you still want that relaxation and downtime, maybe you're going for April vacation or you're going for fall break. I love starting in London, even though you could spend years in London and not do it all, which is what I feel like I've done. I lived in London for a year, and I go back again and again and again, and I still love going to the things that I love to do, like the Tower of London. I could do that 1,000 times. Hampton Court, I could do 1,000 times. I just discover something new every time. I could spend weeks and weeks in London and not be bored. But if you want that relaxation, spending a few days in London and then retreating to the English countryside. So, I don't feel like I have to go through what you could do in London. And we have some great experiences here that you can check out this video on some of my favorite things to do in London. Buckingham Palace, your kids might love Harry Potter Studios, Tower of London, Tower Bridge, watching the boats glide along the Thames. The Greenwich is such a great place to explore with kids as well, the Prime Meridian, and there's some great maritime museums down there with lots of fun hands-on exhibits for your kids. But what you might not have thought about is retreating to the English countryside, where you can stay in a grand country estate with sprawling green fields, horseback riding, falconry, curling up with a book by the fire, listening to the rain tap against the windows, right? That kind of coziness. There's some incredible resorts. There is Cliveden. There is an amazing Four Seasons in Hampshire. There's great hotels in Bath. I have a family staying in the Cotswolds this summer that really, really excited to explore. Of course, I can't remember the hotel that they're staying in off the top of my head. I couldn't tell you who the general manager is, my relationship with him, but the name is escaping me. But here are some of my favorite countryside manors to stay in. I know I did do a video on that you might enjoy if that sounds like something that you're looking to do as a family. Another great one that gets overlooked is Sicily. Sicily, you can begin in Palermo, wandering through the vibrant markets, do a food tour with fresh cannoli and arancini. Oh my goodness, two of my favorite snacks that are now associated with Italy, but Sicilian snacks, arancini. I could eat arancini all day, every day. You can explore the Valley of the Temples, where massive Greek ruins rise against the Sicilian skies. Then slow down in Taormina or Cefalù, where kids can splash in shallow beaches, parents sip wine with views of Mount Etna. There is a Club Med in Cefalù, which has kids clubs that are included. I love Club Med for families. I don't want to overwhelm this video with lots of options, but there's a video I did on Club Med. Apparently I'm just going to keep referencing to all of the videos that I've done in the past to keep this one from being really, really long. Another place you might not have thought of for this mix of relaxation is Austria. You can start with imperial elegance and end with alpine beauty. Beginning in Vienna, grand palaces, cozy cafes. Schönbrunn Palace has some great exhibits for kids. You can dress up. They have so many hands-on interactive exhibits about that imperial time and history. You can watch the famous stallions at the Spanish wine riding school. Of course, testing Sacre Tort in old coffee houses. Which one has the best Sacre Tort? Is it the Hotel Sacre, where it was invented, or has someone else perfected it? I love to personally taste the schnitzel everywhere. It's one of my favorite foods, and I love going to Austria and Germany to just eat schnitzel all day, every day. Then you can explore Salzburg, where the hills really come to life with the sound of music, wandering through the Mirabell Gardens, the fortress, letting the kids play in the same fountains where scenes from The Sound of Music were filmed. Then ending your Austrian adventure with a resort in the Austrian Alps. There are some incredible family resorts up in the mountains here. The alpine retreats where you can swim in thermal spas, hike scenic trails, or simply take in the crisp mountain air. There's this one incredible resort for families where you have tons of resort activities. It's relaxing. You have pools, but they also have a goat farm. And so the kids can interact with the goats, and it's just really, really fun resort that is definitely on my bucket list, that you can sip your local wine while your kids are playing in the pool or with the goats, and you can overlook the breathtaking snow-capped peaks of the Alps. So hopefully this inspired you. This gave you some ideas for how to balance one of your needs. If one partner is looking for that adventure and culture, the other one is looking for more of a vacation where you're able to relax and explore. Those are some of my favorite places in Europe, some of my favorite ways to structure your day. Thank you so much for watching. You taking the time to watch, taking the time to like and subscribe allows me to really help other families discover new cultures and develop cultural curiosity in their children, which is why I started my travel agency in the first place. So thank you so much for sharing, for supporting my small business, for sharing this video with other families who might be looking at traveling, for liking, subscribing. I really appreciate it. Hopefully you felt some inspiration. We love to work with families one-on-one, so if you'd like help planning your vacation, please reach out to me and my team. I did mention that 18 Summers guide. You can get that guide by clicking the link in the description below for my 18 favorite destinations, again, organized by age. And I'd love to know in the comments, what is your ideal mixture of adventure and relaxation? Thank you so much, and don't forget to take a break from the busy.
Need help planning your next family vacation? Visit us at showcasetheworld.com to request a quote or schedule a free vacation consultation. Want more great travel tips? You'll find those there too.